discuss Mr. Bloodborne's trial. If you hadn't realized the somewhat recent events, there were many reports against Bloodborne for putting many objects and pieces of property on fire within the LBK regime proximity. Again, today we will be discussing his fate today. Mr. Bloodborne and Mr. Fade, would you guys like to present your guys' information? I see. Okay. And Mr. Lone Ranger, you will be the person going up against this argument today, correct? Excellent. What information do you have to provide that this is incorrect? Take all the time you need. Mm-hmm. I see. Is that it? Okay. Now, Mr. Blood, what information do you have to reject, or, if you will, thwart this argument? They weren't supposed that they were real. Just wanted to make that clear. You heard these reports after you left the server, even though the reports were happening during your presence in the server and people were accusing you of this because of the name calling? From what sources did you hear these reports if you were offline? Through what source? PlayStation message? Okay, I see. Do you have these messages? I see. Okay. Mr. Lone, what information do you have to say that this is rather false? Now, now, well, I find it strange that the LBK tower was hit severely, probably the hardest. Houses were also hit, but the World Trade Center, of which is the creator of that is bloodborne fire, it was untouched. Is that correct, Blood? Mr. Little Nasty, is this correct? I see. Now, Mr. Lone, are there any other pieces of info able to bolster your argument? I see. Mr. Blood, you had claimed that Harry framed you for these events, correct? Mr. Little Nasty, is this correct? Do you have the pieces of information that conclude that this is true? Okay. Mr. Blood, are you there? Hmm. Ah, okay, excellent. Mr. Blood, the question that was asked to you and your lawyer was, what leads do you have that confirm Mr. Harry Toad's framing? What was inside the audio from your perspective? He was trying to get you out of the party? How? Okay. Do you have any other witnesses that can cut? Well, does anybody in the jury support that Harry was posting multiple audio messages in the chat, somewhat framing Blood? Anybody? Who? So you were the only one that was receiving these messages from Harry because he had everybody muted. And we can't have. And the reason being Harry isn't here today is Harry is the president of Kingstonia, and today he declared. Today, the LBK regime had declared war upon his country for crimes against our country, so he is a wanted terrorist inside our city. So that is why he is not in the court today, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to let you guys know that. Mr. Lone, Blood proposes that Harry was accusing him of these crimes through audio messages through a party of which were protected through mutings. What do you have to say about this? I see. Um, Mr. Lone, do you have any evidence that could conclude that Harry did in fact have people muted during the event? Does anybody in the stand, including Mr. Blood's lawyer, have information upon him, Mr. Harry, muting everybody else so that he could communicate with Blood clearly and furtively? When did the muting happen? Like, are you able to recall exactly where everybody was and exactly where you were? I see. Yes, that's obvious. But where were you physically inside the server? What were you doing in your building? How long were you building these floors, and how many floors did you build? Are they furnished? Hmm. Okay. How many floors did you have prior to the construction of the new floors? So in total you have 16 floors right now? Mr. Eagle, can you please go count the amount of floors on the building? Thank you, sir. Um, hmm. Had anybody physically seen Mr. Blood and his tower constructing these floors? Okay. Yet, Mr. Blood, you have multiple reports thrown at you accusing you of burning our tower floors, but you have no confirmations about you actually being inside your tower constructing the presumed and assumpted your floors. What do you have to say about this? So your only concern about not damaging the tower is for you getting banned, not maybe the thought of erasing other people's work that they worked very hard on, or it being. Oh, that too. Okay, just wanted to make sure that was like HTI. Now, do you have any businesses inside the LBK Regime Tower? Okay. Now, okay, let's see here. Would anybody in the jury like to say anything? Jury's very cool. Oh, yes. Yep, you have total permission, Mr. Blood, or excuse me, Mr. Lone. I'm sorry. Wait, Blood. That information doesn't add up. Yeah, you had just claimed that you were inside your tower for about 1 hour. That you said building floors, and now you're saying that you were by Mental construct when he was making his. Mr. Fade, is Mental able to confirm these reports? If it is true, okay. Um, it seems that Blood is incapable of answering the question. Mr. Eagle, I would like to ask you how many floors have you report to tell us that are at the world? 16 floors exactly. Mr. Blood, does this sound right? Mr. Eagle, is that including both the top and ground floor? I see. Um, Mr. Blood, how many floors is this tower of yours planning to have? I see. Okay. Mr. Blood, can you please confirm because I feel as though it is necessary for us to ask them if they even did do this. But can you please confirm the names of the people calling you the quote unquote name of which will not be said any longer in this court case, but we all know what it is? Hmm. I don't. Hmm. Okay. Were you angered by this? And I know this might be a. You were not angered. So this hadn't angered you at all. Okay. Um. Is anybody able to confirm these people calling each other? Or excuse me, is anybody able to confirm the people's names of which that called Blood the name? Is anybody able to like actually say that Mental, Fresh, Harry, and LBK called Blood the name? Nobody? Right, we're gonna be carrying that over after this court case. Do any of you have anything to say right now about any of this? Like any more information leads, anything like that? Yes. That's not possible because Waffle wasn't here during the night of the attack. That's completely invalid information because Waffle himself this afternoon confirmed that he wasn't here, and I know he wasn't here either. So, well, with the information. Oh, I'm sorry. I see. Well, with the is there from both of our lawyers, Mr. Fay, do you have something to say? Yes, you may. Business ties. He wasn't here. You weren't on the world. Were you on the world then? Would Would you like a brief biography about him, or some information about him. He was basically the starter of the Breakfast Book, also known as the library, right in front of the Grey House. Um, he was relatively new during the world's beginning, but he was disconnected and due to capacity limits with the server and the party lobbies, and just now he's began to get back into the server, but he hasn't committed any kind of crimes of the sort. No crimes. Um. Okay. Mr. Fade, can I interrupt your questions real fast? Okay. Blood, have you ever been in prison before? How many times have you been in prison? Mr. Eagle, at the time, do you have the prison records of Blood? Thank you very much. Could you, let's not get too specific. Let's just, be totally for his security. It's not other people's jobs to know Mr. Blood's prison record, but can we at least know how many times he's been in prison, please? 4 times? Is that including the terrorist attack? Oh wait, he wasn't in prison. He... Ah, yes. Can't spell terrorist. Okay. Hang on a minute. Excuse the interruption. I'm so sorry. Mr. Fate, go ahead and continue your questions. Sorry. Mr. Fade, I'm sorry. Like, I don't see the relevance of these kind of questions regarding Lone's previous business career or professional career if he wasn't even on the server during the night of the attack, and he had no records absolutely were even thrown against him, even for previous acts of terrorism. Okay. If anybody isn't comfortable with that self-assertion of irrelevance in the jury, please stand up now and explain why. Anybody? Oh, no. No. Okay. Yes, you may, Mr. J. Mr. J speaking on the House, Commissioner of Infrastructure. Mr. J, earlier in this court case, Blood had stated that he had no anger experienced from the name calling. Mr. J, interpreting somebody's emotions is an opinion, not a fact. Thank you for your speculation. Is there any evidence or any other comment that you would like to conclude with this? Thank you. Okay, Lone, go ahead and continue. PSN message, most likely. Which has probably been flooded with spam. Now, we will now ask our subjects if they would like to present anything else, and if not, the final message will be given out, not regarding Blood's compromise that is being brought upon through a poll vote, in which, if you need me to supply to you personally, I will be more than happy to do so. But now, Mr. Lone, you first. Is there any other final piece of information that you would need to present to the jury, the courthouse? Okay, just wait 1 second. Okay. Um, Unfortunately, to those who are watching the broadcast right now, this cannot be shown to you due to PlayStation privacy. If you would like to see this image, please message me personally and professionally. Thank you. And and again, if anybody in the broadcast, maybe if you're on Xbox or something like that, and you're just watching this for fun, just message me, and I will, anything. Just like message me, contact me somehow, and I will email you the proof and photos. Now, while Lone is doing this, Mr. Blood, would you like to, or not, yes, Mr. Blood and Mr. Fade, are there any final pieces of information or leads that you guys would like to present to us? I see. Yes. Well, just one more. I'd actually like to ask Blood something. Mr. Blood, do you personally, and humanely, feel that you have been treated fairly in this um, session? That's great to hear. That's what we're going for. Would that be it? Yes. Mr. Lone, you may. Just saying, guys, we have 56 comments on our broadcast right now. Um, Somebody take care of that if you can. Thanks. I just want to put that out there. There was blood being, excuse me, God, lava. There was lava being placed on Project Red, also known as MOP, the big black frigate, in between our city, right above Mr. Isaiah's house. So, just putting that out there. No, the blood the lava was there at that night. We don't know if that was him, but there was an obvious sighting. There was an obvious sighting. I don't know if anybody got pictures there, but we have multiple witnesses, including I. Um, would anybody like to be the honorable man of the night and step out so that Mr. Fresh, current Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense for LBK Regime, may enter with information? If the jury is unwilling to do this, you are completely entitled to your position in here, and if we need to, courts will be held later on, but is anybody willing to at the moment? Anything with Fresh isn't quick. Just kidding. No? Okay. Alright, well, we don't want to hold our people up too much. Are these your guys' final pieces of information? Yes. Now, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending this tonight's court case. In my booklet for my audience, I'm going to be typing down the exact URL or link for the straw poll, and you guys will be able to vote whether you think Mr. Blood should be allowed back on the server. If any information is needed to be DM'd, PM'd, or directed to you through email or anything like that, I will be sure to do that for you right away, as soon as I can. Does anybody in the jury have any questions or anything like that? 0. By the way, that's the link, guys, for you. Link for straw poll. Anybody? Yeah, yes, Mr. Fade? No. No, people are entitled to their own decision even if it was beforehand. Thank you, though. That link that I have in the book right now, it may be incorrect just because I'm blind. Just kidding. But if it's not correct, just message me and I'll actually send you like the actual link. But besides that, does anybody else need help with anything like that? Or not help, but questions? No? Okay. Let's comp. Okay, well, let us lead them outside, and then we will be over with this. Thank you for attending. Let's go, gentlemen. This information that I'm holding in my hand will be mass-produced and published inside the library, making it valuable for everybody to see and will not be altered. As you could already see, it has already been signed. It cannot be altered. Thank you for attending, everybody. Have a great evening.